Welcome to our podcast, guys. It's Maungira Clan, Maungira Mgwenga, Echoes of the Desert. I'm with Tafu, Tau, and Tafi, not Tafu.
It's a side note.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get into it. Today we're going to be talking about projects. Projects that you can do at home, how to start a project, what you need to know about doing a project, and common mistakes that people do while they attempt to get into a project. So let us put our phones on vibrate and delve into it. Gentlemen, take it away.
We are very lucky and privileged to have amongst us an actual project engineer. Project manager himself is an esteemed engineer with vast experience across the world. He's one of us, actually. His name is Tafi. Tafi, you are the best person to actually just give us an overview of projects and like when one is attempting to start a project, like what are the fundamentals, what are the bases that you're supposed to cover? What do you really need to know when you need to start on a project? Any project, be it small or big, but just give us something that will be of benefit to our listeners.
Right. Before you start, for clarification, when you start explaining about these projects,
yes,
I would want you to take a setup of someone who wants to earn, talking like a Scottish man, earn extra income on the side. How is this man supposed to do this?
It's what you need to understand about a project is the way we call projects, especially back home. The project part of it is the starting. I mean, you see, what we have at home is we've got people who start up chicken breeding scheme.
Poultry.
We've got people who start up a small covo growing scheme.
Okay.
You know, all those things.
Covo,
right?
covo. What is covo? In English? Collard greens, right? Collard greens. Yes.
Whatever they are, but you know, the majority of your listeners and our listeners, the Maungira clan, they know what covos are. Now, what I'm saying is, the startup, what we call the startup, is actually the project. Okay, what we then do day to day, where we are maintaining the chickens, where we are maintaining the boer goats, where we are maintaining and weeding out the weeds in the small tomato garden, that is now a continuous process that is not a project.
So clearly defining, there's a difference between a project and actually getting to work on the project.
Exactly. A project is defined by a start and an end phase. You have what you start, when you start, a date, a time, and what is your aim. And then you have an end where you have what you've achieved as the project. So if you are doing your chickens and you sell your chickens, you are not starting another project. The project finished long back. You now have a continuous process where you are churning out chickens every month, every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 months, and selling them and writing spaghetti.
This is no longer a project.
This is no longer a project now.
It's now a process.
This is now a process.
The process after the project.
This is after the project. Your project is your startup. Your project is when you think, right, we need to have chickens. We need to have layers. We need to have cabbages. So your project is, we need to move away from today, where we have a garden patch which is just lying fallow, to 3 months where we've established a cabbage patch. Okay? So this is the initial input that you are going to put into that. You are going to look at what you need to do this. It's not about sustaining it. No, your project is about starting. Right? So you list out, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this to get to this stage. The stage that we are is not the stage of selling the cabbages. The stage is where we now have a garden patch where we can do our cabbages.
Okay,
Maybe we've even
just to take it back just a little bit, just explain the importance of you listing what you need for the project. Tell us how important that is, because I think it's a very critical step, but tell us the importance of you listing everything that you would want for a particular project, be it whatever it is you're doing. Why do you need that list?
The success of a project hinges on the project manager being able to ascertain and identify the things that are required, one, to make the project work, and two, identify the risks that are involved in the project and therefore mitigate the risks, or if it is a beneficial risk, enhance that risk.
Okay, you see, so that would be in a more professional setup, right?
But no, you see, this is the issue. As much as it is professional in a professional setup, but in your small garden patch,
yes, that's where I wanted.
In your small garden patch, you need to understand that cabbages are always grown in the other farm there. But the year that you will start to grow the cabbages, there is going to be some kind of weevil or some kind of insect. You need to assess the risk of that happen. The year that you do it, there is going to be a drought. You need to assess that risk. The year that you do it, there's not going to be any ammonium nitrate available because all the ammonium nitrate went and bomb blasted in Beirut. That is a risk that you need to assess. See how much it has an impact. Is it possible that is going to affect your project? When you do the continuous process, you'll be doing the continuous process. But as a project, when you started the startup, how much are these risks going to come? So if you just go and say, no, I'm going to start doing the chicken. If you just go and you start, I'm going to start doing the boer goat, right? And then you go there, and then the boer goat is attacked by diseases that you've never heard of. Your own local breed of goats don't get this disease. But your boer goats, all of them, as nice as they were looking when they were 3 months, 2 months old, they've all been taken by this disease. That risk, you need to have identified it, so that when you now have on the ground the boer kids, young one of a goat is a kid, right?
Yes, a kid.
Right. When you now have the boer kids that you have bought,
I was even questioning myself.
Yes, a
goat
kid.
kids. Goat kids.
It's not a goatlet.
no, it's not a goatlet. It's not a
Goatling.
So now when you've got these kids, these goat kids there now, right? What disease are they prone to, right? Because they come from somewhere and they are not indigenous to our Zimbabwe. How do you mitigate? Do you need to give them some kind of medicine? Do you need to give them some kind of dip, or do you just need to keep them enclosed so that they don't go out and meet this disease?
So
it's a risk that you are assessing. Then you see now this risk that is there. How do I mitigate the chances? Because if you know, if you have an idea that every 10 years in Zimbabwe there will be a drought, and your project that you are starting is to grow sunflower on a 3-acre plot, the question becomes, how frequent has history said a drought will come to Zimbabwe?
So basically you need the knowledge of what you are doing.
The knowledge.
So yes, that's another point that was stuck in my mind, which I wanted to say. A lot of people venture into projects, whether small as they are, for some income on the side, which I decide not honestly and openly love for people to do, but some people go into projects which they have no knowledge of, right? So
Which there's nothing wrong with that.
there's nothing wrong with that, but if you do not have knowledge of what you're going to do, you're supposed to research in what you're going to
Exactly. Don't go in blindfolded, because what you are doing is you are going into an industry. There are very few people here on this earth who are going to come up with projects that are completely new, right? Very few of us are Mark Zuckerbergs. Very few of us are Elon Musks. There are very few of us who are going to come up with what say Branson wants is a hyperloop. This is not going to happen. What you are going to do as a side note is what has already been done. So there's no need for you to fall in pitfalls of people who have done it and succeeded but fail in those things. What you need to do is find out what they did, where they went wrong, when they got it right, what did they do?
Okay.
And then you do that.
So let's take it back to small project, poultry project, gardening project, which wants to achieve some output.
Yes.
Yeah. What would be the best advice or the best steps to take?
Or we could put it in a more general way. What are the basic components when you identify a project? What are the components? How do you break down like what you are supposed to do? What are the components that make up a project? What you have to look at?
What you need to do initially for a project is you identify two key points: your start and your end. Right? Your project, even though you are setting up a continuous process, there is somewhere where the project itself is going to end. Now, how to identify that is one, when you go ahead, when you move, when you kick off, when you actually initiate. Right? So your initiation might be when I get my salary and I buy XYZ. I buy a
Chicks.
fence.
I
I
buy
buy
chicks.
chicks. A fence to put around the plot. I buy. So what you've done, you've put an initial point of reference to start with. So the moment you say, I've bought the chicks, I've bought the fence, I've bought the land to work on, that is your start off period. Okay. That should be point one, right? And then, because you see, we didn't put the point arbitrarily, we associated the point with an action, right? Okay. So your action was start this, do this, buy this, get this. That was your action. Okay. Now, your end should be achieve this.
Okay.
Get this. So when you get from a point to buy this,
do this,
and then regardless of whatever is happening in between, and you actually get to a stage where you have this, achieve this, you have got either a produce, you've got something that is there. Right. Those are the points between your project. Those are the important points.
Yeah, right, fine. So those are the important. Those are the
start and
foundations.
End. Those are the foundations of the project. Right. Now we need now to move into how to do it. Now this becomes the planning, the execution, and the control of the project.
Okay, fine. The planning and the execution and the control of the project. Where does consultancy come in?
Consultancy will only come in if you yourself are not able to plan for the project, if you yourself are not able to execute, or even if you are, you want someone to oversee the execution of the project, and you yourself, when it comes to control, you need help in controlling the finances, you need controlling the manpower, you need controlling what is going into the project. That control, because when you start a project, you have a budget. You don't have an unending supply of resources to pump into your project, which is why a lot of projects fail, because people then say, no, this project has become like a tula bechulube. It's now just taking money. I'm not getting anything out of it.
No return.
Because initially you didn't budget how much money is supposed to go in, and when I put this money, what is my cash flow? How much money am I going to put at which point, at which point, at which point?
So
how much do I get out?
Would you say that hiring someone who knows more about farming to take care of the day-to-day runnings of your project, could that be classified as consultancy?
That's employment.
Okay.
What you would have done is you would have taken your project to to start your dairy farm, and you've taken expertise advice. Now, if this expertise advice is coming and telling you, shouldn't do this, you should do it like this, shouldn't do this, you should do it like this, shouldn't do it, that is consultant. But if you take him and you say, run it, he's now your employee. He, instead of he shouldn't do this, he will come to you and say, we can't do this, give me money to do this. You need to do this, we need to do this. So he no longer is consulting for the project, he is now a cost for the project, who is making the project move.
So consultancy happens in the initial stages of the project or during the project?
Consultancy can happen during, even before pre-project planning and even after project review. Consultancy happens in all stages of a project.
So, okay, for example, this small produce farmer wants to do market gardening.
Yes. The best thing for this small produce farmer, before you even say anything, is before he even starts, he consults either someone who has the expertise in doing this, who he knows, or someone who doesn't do it but already has the expertise, is a proven consultant in this market.
Okay.
So you go to them, you tell them, I've got this plot of land, I want to get into market garden. What do I do? Now a consultant knows things that you yourself don't know that you need to know. So you come to your land, you say, what did you say you wanted to do? I wanted to do XYZ. You take a sample of your soil, you take this of your soil, you take a situation, you take a location, you look at maps of rainfall, you look at all these things, and then you tell you, no, without irrigation, even market gardening of maize at your farm is not going to be profitable. Okay.
So okay, tell us.
Oh yeah. What I wanted to say, what I've been getting from you guys is that a lot of people, like I've noticed, they fall into this trap of starting projects based on, maybe I see
someone else is doing
you got
it.
a farm, I'm your neighbor, then I want to do your project. Then I go at it alone, trying to see what you are doing, but I don't really have that in-depth technical knowledge of what needs to be done. I'm just saying, because it's profitable to you, I should also do it.
Exactly.
Munya is doing tomatoes, I think tomatoes will also do on my farm.
But in a position like that, don't you think that it makes more economical sense, and it would you would skip the hassle in telling him that, do you want to expand? I can give you the land and you can do what you're doing. Let him do, because he has all.
But people don't
want to do it.
People want to be profitable, want the most profit.
Yes.
So if they were to give you the land, it means that the profitability that you are getting, they won't be getting as much as you're getting.
It's my land. I need to do my stuff, not your stuff on my land. It's my land.
It is land. But then, what you are going to take out?
I'm not going to lease out my land.
So the problem is when it comes to these
but the issue is that
projects,
if
people are selfish.
If you're going to think about it in that way, then you're going nowhere.
Yeah,
this is what we are saying. This is why we are talking about this project, because people are actually going nowhere.
People are very selfish when
people are actually going nowhere.
When it comes
they see
to
the next door neighbor, even in the ghetto area, even in the farm like you're talking. They see the project and they want to do the same thing. So what they do in the evening, they look at the setup of the layers hand. They don't know what time this person wakes up. They don't know what time this person feeds. They don't know how this person is feeding. They don't even know where they're getting the feed. So all these things,
a lack of creativity.
You see, so the issue is, once you have a setup, you start it. Once you do it once, that's your project. Okay. You've brought out your cabbages. You brought out your eggs. You've brought out your chickens from the chicks. You've brought out the sunflower that you're selling now to olive oil. That was your project. Now, since you're going to do it over and over and over again, it's no longer a project. It's now a continuous process.
That's where we come back to, as much as it is a project, but that's where we come back to society being a balanced institute in our lives. Because if you see that your neighbor is doing poultry farming, right? They need stock feed. Why are you doing poultry? Plant maize. plant soya beans, plant whatever is needed to create stock feed.
That is that's an insight most people will not get, because what I've noticed is mostly how people do things. People perceive things with their eyes. They even go into a project with their eyes. They calculate things in their mind, like, okay, if I do chickens, if I get 100 chickens, I'll sell them for so much. Chicken feed is doing so much. I think I'll make a profit of so much, because
nothing is written down.
So nothing is a project that is formulated in your head. And some people, like you say, they don't have a budget. They just go knowing the basics of a chicken poultry project, like you need stock feed, you need sheds and this, that, but they
you don't know the nitty-gritty.
Yes, and there's no
the budgeting is no water.
There's
so
no
the water in the
consulting.
house is now increased in consumption, and you are paying more water, but this was never budgeted for. So you think you are falling.
So your outcome, it becomes less, and you think, but it's not so profitable like I thought it was. Actually, I'm losing money because
those are the type of people that you hear now. I started doing this,
but it doesn't work.
But doesn't work. Doesn't give me money and what.
I'm leaving.
You do not know how to do it.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. But the same person, he knows how to.
He's been doing it for years.
Do millet, for example, right? Why are you're not even diversifying? Why are you leaving?
It's a lack of insight. It's a lack of when you see a thing, don't look at it with your eyes. When you see anything, look at it objectively. Like, this is amazing, and okay, what does this guy need? Where does he get his maize feeds? Where does he get his poultry? Where does he get his supplies? You look at those things, because you can never be him, but you can complement him in your own way, and be profitable as much as he's being profitable, because you become what you call scale of economies. Like, okay, now I'm buying maize from you, now I'm buying this from you.
Yes, Tao, you've got the idea. The idea, even though we might not want to really hammer on it directly, is we as a people are self-centered.
Exactly.
We are self-centered, especially us as Zimbabweans, but in general as black people. Okay, we are self-centered.
Yeah.
What if you look at what used to happen in the farms long back, was that the farmers themselves
Yes.
would have periodic meetings to look at each other as a community. It would be a community of farmers, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 farms, which would cover a huge area, maybe even 90% of a district.
Yes.
Right? And they would ask each other who's not making a certain percentage in turnover.
Yeah.
Who is not making 5 million in terms of percentage, in terms of turnover, in terms of money that they are making, or profit, whatever.
Yes.
Whatever it is, they ask him, but what are you doing? I do XYZ. Okay, your problem is you are doing the seedlings for tobacco. Nobody else has these seedlings.
Yes.
In this district.
Yes.
But for the acreage that we have, we are actually buying extra seedlings from outside. That is your problem. Your problem is not that you are not in a profitable thing. Your problem is you are not supplying the demand available. Therefore, some people are not even wanting to buy half from you. Those people are just buying everything from the other district, across the road, across the river, across the province. So what you need to do is make sure your seedlings are enough for everyone's acreage, and you have some left, so that instead of us importing, you should be exporting your seedlings. And guess what? When you have that amount of seedlings, we will buy it from you. Then this guy goes into a project to increase his output of seedlings. Seedlings for tobacco, they are not sold all the time. April, May, March, April, May, that's the time that they're selling them. So he needs to prepare an extra leg acreage with all the things that are required for seedlings to be made, that's a project. Once that is set up and the first seedlings go out, that project has been successful and it becomes a continuous process now.
Okay.
Okay?
And I get it.
But we don't have those people in our community.
We don't have those things in our community, but then that's why I believe that the community as a whole, the way we are living as a community, I do not know if it's urbanization or if it's the economic situation or whatever it is, but we are not having open dialogue with
That's
each
the issue
other in the community.
Yes.
Because we might want to blame a lot of other exterior forces for things that are affecting our community
directly, but
us
we can
as a community
control them.
We are not helping each other, that okay, fine, he's doing piggery, you are doing agriculture, but all of you need utensils to do whatever you're doing. Why can I not be
come in
that person who's going to
bring all
these equipments that you need,
because what happened in these farms long back was industry would happen later. What used to happen was your farm will be the one that's making the sorghum.
Yes.
Another farm will be the one that's making the millet. Another farm the maize. And then somewhere along the line, once it's all done, only one farm of these is the one that has got the mills and grinders.
Yes.
And it would grind these and then make them and mill them into stock feed.
Yeah.
And all the other farms would get this stock feed and not need to go to national foods, because once it has been milled and ground and made into stock feed, it was sold locally within our district, and this was very little of what the output was. The rest of it, as much as it was the one that was then given to national foods.
So
you get your stock feeds from
I'm noticing a trend here that each and every podcast we are talking about, each subject is coming back to communalism, is coming back to we need to look out for each other, and that's where the power is. The power comes from a community. The power does not come from you being super profitable, but the real power comes from a community. When we come together as people, when I start doing, you start doing, then we empower ourselves. That's where the power is coming from. Even from our last episode, we realized that at the end of the day, we as people, we need to come together and help each other. When I pull you up, I pull him up, we pull each other up, then we become powerful. So in as much as you want to do your project, if you don't identify a need in a community, that's the basis of a project.
Yes.
Why you start a project is not for, maybe you want extra income, but the ultimate goal of any project or any venture is to make and better the lives of those around you, even immediately around you, or it may be nationally, regionally, whatever. But the purpose of starting something should not primarily be for you to make more money, but to make something better that is not there. That's how the project becomes a good project. When it's money centered, you will not see the returns because your focus is on returns only. But when you are providing a need
and servicing
a
need,
the returns will come because that need is already there. You get what I'm saying? If there's a need, obviously will come to your service. So it's coming back to we need each other as a community. So the project,
as much as you want to make a start of it, as much as you want to make an end of it, as much as you want to control, execute and manage, you want to plan it in between this start and end. These are the important part. You start, you end, you control it, but for you to control it, you have to have a budget. For you to plan it, you have to have an end date. For you to execute it, you have to know what you need to be doing during the project period. So you're going to execute your project. But in the execution, what are you doing? This is what you need. So if you're just going to say, I'm going to start a project of building houses, you're going to run a loss because you have not put a budget. So you don't know what to control. So even if the builders come and say we need 3,000 more bricks, these 3,000 more bricks are actually required. You are not being scammed. They are actually required. But you did not put a budget
Okay.
So because you did not put a budget, you have no way of control. So what you're just going to come up is, this is so expensive, it's not profitable anymore.
Yeah.
It's not profitable because you don't have a budget.
You don't have a budget and you lack the knowledge of
Right.
what is
What
required
is this?
from
What am I supposed to do?
a budget
Right.
for the certain specific project that you are doing.
So you need information. If you're going to do a project, whatever project you want to do, this is why, otherwise everybody would start a project. This is why when you go to a bank, they'll come tell you we need a business proposal.
Yeah.
Why they need you to have a business proposal is for them to understand that you've done your research, 1, on your project, 2, on the available market, and 3, on the possibilities and that acceptable profit margins that you're going to get, so that are you going to be able to pay back with interest. Otherwise they would give everyone money.
Yeah.
That's why they say
True.
come up with a business proposal.
Yeah.
Now you want to start a project, you are serious, you are at home, you want to start a project, you are tired of
Yes.
Working.
working without getting anything, but you don't want to sit down and you still need the business proposal. You still need to know what you're going to be doing in the project. You still need to have the information. Otherwise, all those cabbages, they are going to come out very beautiful first week,
But no
second
customers.
week. After that, all of them are going to look
Go
like
bad.
failed lettuces.
So what we in essentially what we are saying is that a project is planning is a prerequisite of anything you venture. Not being a project, anything you do, you need careful, well detailed planning, even if it's on a small scale, because you cannot plant want to have cabbages, but you don't even know where the seeds you can get the seeds from.
You can never be too careful in your planning.
Yes.
Need to plan.
You need to plan, yeah.
So projects first planning. It's good to talk about something, but it's another different level when you start
When you start
planning
planning
about
it.
something you've been
Right.
talking about.
Yeah.
Because it brings now these issues that Tafi was talking about, that the risks involved, the outcomes, how do you mitigate the risks, what are the outcomes, how can you best identify what you're going to invest in, the cost, everything will come together when you plan. But if you don't plan, if you just think with your, like I said, with your eyes, no paper, it's a
All right.
failed
So
project.
the basic pickup points, that eureka moment that we've all reached to is planning. Planning also involves educating yourself, consultancy. Ask from people who have more knowledge in that field that you want to have a project on. Have a solid plan. Look over it again.
Show someone.
Show someone. Let them approve it, or let them
Oversee
Give you one or two points others that
Other
you've
than that,
overlooked.
yeah. There's no planning that is ever too careful. So from me, Tafi, and
Before you,
On a side note,
Yes.
on a
it's not a
side,
side note, it's actually,
last point.
there is a Chinese proverb which says, in English, I don't know how they say it in Chinese, but in English it
you
comes
do
up
not
to,
speak Chinese.
it comes up to, clever is the man who, when given a time period to cut down a tree, spends 50% of that time sharpening his axe.
Yes.
Okay.
Not cutting the tree with the
Don't just
blunt.
get the axe and then just go,
Axe.
okay, I've got an idea, let's go and cut down the tree. It doesn't work like that.
And clever is the man who knows better than to interrupt the king of side notes. Lord Side Notes, first of his reign in the year of our Lord 2020.
Of the era of the
Of
COVID-19.
the era of the COVID-19. We will overcome, guys. We will. So
We will.
let's stay positive. Let's get those projects running.
Give
if
us
you-
more ideas. What do you want to hear?
What you want to hear? You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook. Leave us a comment. Talk to
We
us.
are
We want
on
to know what
Spotify.
Spotify also. We are on
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud,
Public Radio.
Stitcher soon, and Apple Podcasts soon.
And Google Podcasts as
Google
well.
Podcast, we're there as well. So listen to us. Tell us what you think, and also hear what we say as well. So my echoes from the Desert Clan, Mawingira Clan. Love you all.
Clan.
And this is us signing out.
We out.
We're out.
Peace.
On a note.
ukauya kumba moona bhaisikopu totombohetwa kutomborohwa kopo sevakadzi pachipare toitira nagodho togara tichishuta kundiumburudza